Here's the question, though. The top wildcard team, the Bengals, are they actually the best team in the AFC?
The Cincinnati Bengals are a confusing team.
I believe in one Joseph Burrow, and I believe what this team is building.
Burrow drops back to throw. Touchdown! Chase has it!
Best offenses in the NFL.
With a catch!
Get in!
He breaks a tackle!
Get in!
He extends the ball! Touchdown!
Nice.
Yet their defense is what cost them a playoff berth and Joe Burrow an MVP award in 2024, and their ownership has made one too many confusing financial decisions. Nevertheless, though, improvements are sure to come on defense, and Burrow's 3 healthy seasons have led to deep playoff runs or statistical explosions. With his top 2 wideouts now locked up, it's time for him to finally fulfill his potential, and in today's video, we're going to go over exactly why in 2025 the Cincinnati Bengals are about to dominate the NFL. Now, in 2024, it was an absolute sight to behold as a Bengals fan, but at the same time, it was also just immensely frustrating. Like, on one side of the ball, you had a truly elite Joe Burrow going about his business, carving defenses up on a weekly basis, and leading the league with 4,918 yards and 43 touchdowns. However, one of the reasons he delivered such lofty numbers is because of his woeful defense forced him to attempt a league-high 652 passes. Only the Cleveland Browns attempted more passes than the Bengals in 2024, in a year where Joe Burrow had to give everything he had just to keep his team in games. And yes, the volume that he was throwing with every single week did deliver on career best numbers for Joe Burrow, but it should have been so much more at the end of the day. An MVP award was surely on the table, and the sheer quality week in, week out deserved his 3rd deep playoff run. On top of wasting a stellar season from one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, the Bengals also saw a triple crown season from the NFL's best wide receiver go to waste. Shamar Chase led all receivers with 127 receptions, 1,708 yards, and 17 touchdowns, earning first-team All-Pro honors for his efforts. Supporting Chase was another stud receiver in T Higgins, who notched 911 yards and 10 touchdowns in just 10 games played. Injuries have played a big role in Higgins' career so far, but there is no doubt that he is the league's best wide receiver 2 when on the field, more than capable of leading a passing attack if he were to play for any other team. Had Higgins completed either of his last 2 seasons too, he would have been on a run of 4 straight 1,000-yard efforts, confirming this trio as the most dangerous in the entire NFL. Like, it's crazy how just perfect each of these guys complement each other, and truthfully, when all 3 of these guys are on the field at the same time, they can challenge anybody in the NFL. With all 3 of these guys on the field over the last 3 years too, the Bengals are 21-10 with a 67% win rate. In all other games, the Bengals are just 9-10, falling under 500. Like, truthfully, when all 3 of these guys are playing, there's just too much talent on the field to try and have a defense try to bottle all of it up. Chase is a one-man wrecking crew with speed for days, but if you dedicate too many resources to him, you leave Higgins in one-on-one situations, and there are a few better than him on the perimeter. He's also much more than capable of taking a game over, as was proven by his 131 yards and 3 touchdowns against an elite defense in Denver in 2024.
15-20 into the air right here. Higgins. Touchdown, Higgins. To the end zone for the lead. Higgins.
He can bully opponents with his size and physicality, but also able to win as a separator, thanks to his impressive movement skills for someone of his size. Similarly too, the presence of Higgins on the field opens things up for Chase even more, as defenses aren't able to skew too heavily toward the Bengals' main offensive threat. Chase can handle any matchup the defense puts on him, but with Higgins also demanding attention, the Triple Crown winner's life is made a little bit easier. I mean, straight up the bottom line is that, well, it's pretty unfair for defenses to try and have to account for both Higgins and Chase, who, if Higgins was on another team, would be a wide receiver 1, so it's basically trying to defend 2 wide receiver 1s on one team. But that is the good news, that they were able to successfully lock up both of these guys for the future, especially after this offseason where now they can have this trio on the field for the years to come. Chase's 4-year, $161 million deal made him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, and Higgins didn't do too badly either. He earned $115 million across 4 years, and in pulling the trigger on these deals, the Bengals have secured the most dominant offensive trio in the NFL, but they also have diverted a large chunk of the salary cap to the passing game. Burrow, Chase, and Higgins alone account for $124 million of the $273.5 million salary cap, which equates to 45% of it. That is the most amount of money assigned to 2 wide receivers and a quarterback across the entire NFL, which will make this an interesting case study for the rest of the league to pay attention to. Particularly as well, considering how poor the Bengals defense was in 2024 and how much they needed to improve there. Nevertheless, though, I mean, it really is hard to argue on why you wouldn't want to have this trio together and constantly playing together. Like, when they're on the field together, as we've said so many times in this video, they are just so dominant. Like, as we all know, this is a quarterback-driven league, and when you have guys like Shamar Chase and T Higgins on your team, it almost seems inevitable that a Joe Burrow MVP season is going to happen in just the next couple of years, if not next year. So I think with that argument, or just having that argument point, just if you want to call it that, it's fair to say that they had to sign both of these guys so that way Joe Burrow can have that MVP season this year. And yes, a lot of people are going to try and argue and say, well, now they have too much money tied up on the offense. But that's the thing, though, is when you have both Higgins and Chase on the field, everyone's lives kind of become easier on the offensive side of the ball, not only Joe Burrow's. Tight end Mike Gesicki, who also nabbed a new deal this offseason, has more room to work with than he would if he were on another team. And the same thing can be said for the rest of the pass catching room. Every wide receiver is going to have an incredibly favorable matchup because of how much attention the top 2 guys are going to get. And that's the thing too, is we haven't even mentioned Chase Brown and how effective and just kind of the threat he offers out of the backfield as well. The former 5th rounder is an absolute burner with a 4.4 40-yard dash time who is more than capable as a pass catcher. He enjoyed a breakout season in 2024, notching 990 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground to go along with 360 yards and 4 more scores through the air. Most of this production did come in the second half of the season when the team realized he was a far more dangerous threat and one that was capable of handling a heavy workload. Now with that knowledge gained, expect Brown to have a breakout year with an even bigger year in 2025, ready to play his part in what should be an equally lethal offense. Between T Higgins' dominance on the perimeter, Shamar Chase threatening to score on every play, Mike Gesicki thriving over the middle, and Chase Brown also offering a home run threat out of the backfield, you have an arsenal of weapons that is truly rare. And to cap it all off, you have arguably the best pocket passer in the entire NFL, servicing them all. The 3 seasons that Burrow has finished healthy have resulted in a Super Bowl appearance, an AFC Championship game appearance, and a passing yardage and touchdown leading effort in 2024. The dude is an absolute beast, and his partnership with this offensive talent is a recipe for success that makes the Bengals a threat to win every single game, regardless of what the defense does. Like, I mean, even with their defense ranking 25th in the NFL from a points conceded perspective, the Bengals still managed to produce a 9-8 record, falling just short of a playoff berth. And you can bet that the AFC powerhouses were definitely relieved that Cincinnati wouldn't be joining in that postseason action. And that's truly just how fearsome this offensive unit is. They truly can win any game, no matter how bad their defense truly is. So now, with keeping that in mind, that hopefully the defense won't be as bad as it was last year, this team truly is ready to dominate. I think I've said truly so many times. I think I have. I'm sorry if you're watching this video. Okay, let's show you why this defense can't truly be that bad. While it hasn't exactly been a convincing offseason on that side of the ball so far, what with the contract disputes with Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart, these will hopefully be resolved, and personnel changes elsewhere point to this being a far more competent unit. The most impactful change on this defensive side too is at the coordinator position. Last year's poor defensive effort did cost their defensive coordinator his job, with Notre Dame's Al Golden coming in to replace him. Golden is fresh off of a superb season with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, whom he helped march to a national championship game appearance. His boys ranked first in passing efficiency, defense, turnovers gained, and defensive touchdowns, while also ranking top 5 in scoring, passing yards allowed, and interceptions. They were a formidable unit who almost helped secure the Fighting Irish the title, holding opponents to 16 or fewer points in 10 of those 12 games. Ball disruption is the name of the game for Al Golden's defense, with the coach demanding physicality from his boys and paying extra attention to drills that work on punching and stripping the ball loose. He utilizes a complex and comprehensive scheme that doesn't make life easy on his players. But if he can whip the Bengals defense into shape, it is exactly what they need. This defense was toothless and passive in 2024, and Golden should be able to give them an identity this year. Trey Hendrickson coming back on board would be essential to reach the best case outlook though. He led the NFL with 17.5 sacks in 2024, which was 3 more than Myles Garrett in second place. It was also a whopping 12.5 sacks more than the Bengals' next best sack getter, with him logging 5. That really does tell the story of a defensive line that struggled mightily even with Hendrickson's dominance. It's therefore essential that they find a way to keep him happy in 2025 because as things stand right now, he has said he won't even be playing. There's no doubt too that he does deserve a new deal given his eye-popping numbers, but it won't be easy considering what the Bengals front office has just handed out to their offensive trio. Nevertheless though, with no trade having taken place around the draft, it seems likely that they will find a way to get something done to get Hendrickson back on the field. The other important thing that has to get done too is they need to sign their first-round pick in Shamar Stewart. This one is even more baffling even by the Bengals front office standards. They're arguing over specific language in the contract that refers to the potential voiding of guarantees, which by all accounts would set a new precedent for future rookie contracts. And that's the thing too, is that in doing all of this too, the Bengals are putting this rookie in kind of a tricky situation. He needs to get on the field to begin his crucial development, but if he accepts their proposed contract changes, he will be putting himself at risk and potentially negatively impacting the contracts of rookies signing on the future. What makes this just whole thing even more maddening for Bengals fans and just for Shamar Stewart as well is that he needs all the development he can get in training camp, OTAs, and everything before the season. Like, he has all the physical tools you could ask from a defensive end, but he needs significant refinement when it comes to nuance and technique. He had just 4.5 sacks throughout 3 years of college ball, but still managed to be a first-round pick thanks to his elite physicality and athleticism. Again, this is surely a dispute that will be resolved soon, but the Bengals need a disruptor like Stewart on the field, as the idea of him lining across from Hendrickson is very exciting. And with so much money going to the stars on this roster, the Bengals need their cheap young talent to deliver. When he does eventually get his contract signed and the pads thrown on, Bengals fans will be hoping this delay hasn't been too detrimental to his development, because if he can contribute as a rookie, this has the makings of a much improved defense. BJ Hill and Joseph Asai have both re-signed, which is good news, and the interior of the defensive line got a boost through the signing of TJ Slayton. While Slayton is not going to be putting too much pressure on opposing quarterbacks, he is an imposing figure in the run game, producing the 3rd best run stop win rate in 2024 according to PFF. If the Bengals are to improve on defense in 2025, they need to be able to control the trenches better, and Slayton will help them do that. Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter then arrived as exciting rookies in the linebacker room, hopefully contributing now and long into the future alongside fellow rookie Shamar Stewart. With the offense primed for another dominant season, this defense doesn't even need to improve that much to make this team be feared. I really do think that they should be able to find the necessary improvements and finally give Burrow the support he didn't get last year. With a more well-rounded team and the elite trio locked up on offense, the rest of the AFC better watch out, because if Burrow finishes the season healthy, good things happen, and I see another deep playoff run on the horizon in 2025 for the Cincinnati Bengals.